There's a Digbo. The mother of the queen said, give children your time and monitor them. As a solicitor in Ireland, I know that you must have seen a lot of cases that has to do with our young people growing up. The violence, a lot of things that are coming up now from the mainstream media, and even our own Metro era is beginning to write about it. So what are your experience? What do you know about this issue?
Well, I have been troubled greatly with recent developments in relation to our young children, particularly with unruly behavior, antisocial behavior, and in some instances, criminal activity. There are two, when you look at it, and I'm happy, my fellow members of this panel have talked about parenting issues and talked a lot about, where we're coming from and all that. Yeah, there is a serious problem with parenting. Yeah, it's when you look at this, you have to look at it from different, perspectives, in terms of parenting, in terms of the society, in terms of the social structure, and in terms of support that we have. When you look at it from the parenting aspect of it, just like Mrs. Ojo rightly said, initially a lot of mothers came in here alone with the children, and some fathers did join their families much later, and some are still not here. And then if you observe that the trend we had back in 2000 and from 2000, 18 years back, that trend is also repeating itself in the last 6 or 7 years, with a lot of people getting Irish citizenship. We've seen this time around fathers leaving families behind, either to go to the UK or to go elsewhere to look for the so-called greener pastures. And so you find that the family again is divided and somehow broken. So a lot of these children have grown up in single parent families. And I'm not saying that blaming it on single parent families, but you see, children do better when there's a father and there's a mother there giving all that support. In some cases it's not been there, so in relation to parenting. Also, children as they grow up, particularly when they are very young age, their minds are just like, they have a mindset of like a sponge. They soak what they see, they copy. As they say, monkey, you do, and then you just, what they see is what they copy. And when, parents have not done much themselves. Because sometimes if you want to be respected, you have to give somebody something to respect. If you want your child to respect you and to behave properly, you, the mother or the father, must equally set an example. And you find that in most families where there's been 100% dependence on social welfare benefits, where people have not bothered to make any effort for themselves, where no parent is working, no family member is doing anything positive, nobody is doing anything to work themselves up. There's just no example, nothing for the child to copy. And you find that at some stage when the child is growing up and you want to correct them, and then they retort back at you. And what did you do with your life, Mom? Why are you talking to me like that? What have you done about yourself? You lose that moral authority as a parent to talk to your child because you haven't done anything yourself. And then you begin to find that you don't have that thing there, that to say to the child, look, do this, do that, and whatever. So it's a major failure there. I'm visiting that, saying that as parents, some of us have failed woefully. In spite of all the supports. Ireland provides a lot of support, I must say that. And the Irish government has been very fair, very supportive to the immigrant family. I can't compare in terms of other European countries, but I must say what I know, that the support structures you have generally within the Irish society is extremely fair. It is enough to
Yes.
help anybody that wants to move themselves up from a particular level to another
Higher.
level. But we are not taking advantage of those. And also apart from that, because we are not also taking advantage of those levels, most of our parents are not so involved in parent-teacher meetings and activities. They don't get so much involved in issues pertaining to the welfare of their children. And so that creates some problems, in that department. And then you begin to look at, again, the structures that we have. When I talk about, the social system and what have you. The system we have in place, both within the school, both in terms of guidance and counseling, is inadequate. Most of the teachers and most of the people running these systems are not well equipped to deal with diversity. They are not well equipped. They are not. There's a huge need for cultural training. I know there's been a lot of it going on. Much has been said about it, but there's that awareness is not there. So you find that, a child coming from a background different from yours, if you understood them properly as a teacher, as a guidance, as a counselor, you might be able to relate more with them. You might be able to identify with the issues that they face. They face challenges, enough challenges coming from a different background already. So you have failures within the system in being able to support these new arrivals, these children who are trying to become or have become part of the new communities. That is, one serious issue you have there. And then looking at it as well in terms of our own, we as a people, because we don't just talk about parents. It's not just about parents. It takes a community to raise a child. As a community, are we united? Are we leaving any positive influences there? Our communities, our African societies, our state associations, we as a people, there's so much fragmentation that at times, some of the youngsters says, oh, you Africans, you quarrel a lot. I don't want to identify with that, and what have you. So issues arise, from there, from that perspective as well. So just, I know we'll probably look at other aspects of it as well. I'll equally, talk about just a little bit more about this issue of community support there. There is a whole lot, the African church has a massive influence in Ireland. Majority of Africans in Ireland attend Pentecostal churches. And the church has a big role to play. But I'm afraid that with all the authority that the church has, the church is failing in that regard. I've often spoken to some of my friends who are pastors to say that, whilst it is very, very important to minister on the spiritual needs of the people, we mustn't also fail on our duty, the duty of the church, to ensure that messages of hard work, success, education. Do something with your life.
Yes.
Be interested in your congregation. Help those who require support. Reach out to the young members in your church. Support. Not just about, let's pray about it. The African church is very powerful, very successful. The church is equally rich, but resources from the church need to be put within the community to support the community, particularly our young people. And this is the area where I feel that, the church as one major part of our community can play a leading role in this, in making sure that these issues are dealt with, because for some, at least I know that the church still has, a lot of these youngsters attend churches, and a lot of our church leaders still have some
authority
influence
to influence them.